In Python, there's basically five standard data types. We have strings, which we've already used. We have numbers. We have used integers. We have lists, tuples, and dictionary data types. And we're going to be doing strings and numbers this week. Next week, we get into lists and tuples. And then the following week, we get into dictionary. So we actually go through this fairly quickly. But since most of you, I'm assuming all of you have coded before, you should be familiar at least with strings and numbers. So strings are anything in double quotes, but in Python also single quotes are considered string. And what I normally do is I do the string in double quotes, and then if I need to add an apostrophe, I use that inside the double quotes. Okay, so I do it like that. That's just my convention. Works well for me. So that is what I would recommend that you use. In Python, like some other languages, C and C++ are like this. Strings are stored in arrays. And so each letter occupies a different element, and spaces also occupy elements. And you can access the entire string, using your variable, the variable name. So in this case, we can access the entire string using the variable course, or we can actually subscript into course and access individual letters or numbers that are being stored. So if I did something like this, where I print course, I'm going to get the whole variable. But then if I subscript in, I'm accessing just individual elements and printing those out. Strings have different methods that you can use because strings are objects in Python, and objects have methods. So we have a title method that will capitalize the first letter. So it basically looks for spaces and capitalizes the next letter. So if I have a name of Scooby-Doo and I do name.title, title is my method, then it will do that capitalization for me. There's also an upper and a lower method. It will convert everything to uppercase or everything to lowercase. And again, we use our variable, which is the object, dot, and then we call the method. And it does the conversion for us. Python 6, 3.6 came out with something called an F string. It is a format string. And so it basically lets you have multiple variables printed out or stored in a variable that you can print out. So in this case, I've got two different variables that are parts of a sentence. And then I use the F string to add both of them. And you'll notice that each variable name is in curly braces. But in between the curly braces, I could put commas, spaces, any kind of printable character. And then that is stored in a variable that I can print out. Okay, and what's neat about this, because the sentence variable is an object, I can actually use that with the different string methods. So I can convert it to uppercase, I could convert it to lowercase, I could do the title, okay, so I could do whatever I want. And I'm pretty sure I meant for one of those to be lowercase, but you guys get the idea. So one is using an F string and one isn't. Concatenating. So concatenation is another way of combining strings because you could do that with your F string as well. You saw how we combined different variables with the F string, you can do that by concatenating. And the plus sign is the concatenation operator. So this sentence that I am concatenating has a string, and then I'm concatenating with a variable, concatenating with a string, concatenating with a space, with another variable, with a space, with a variable, and you can kind of see how I'm doing that. A couple other methods. rstrip removes extra spaces on the right of the string. lstrip moves extra spaces on the left. And just strip gets rid of spaces on both sides. So if for some reason I had something like this with extra spaces, rstrip would get rid of the ones over here on the right. lstrip gets rid of the ones over here on the left, and strip gets rid of the spaces on both sides. And you can see what that looks like. There's a couple useful print control characters that you can use. And if you are familiar with C programming, you've probably seen these before. /T is for tab, and /N is new line. So if you put those in double quotes inside your print, you can space things and create columns, and you can also have it do a new line. So you can start to make things a little bit more like a report. And then finally, if you have a multi-line string, we talked about how to do multiple lines for like variables. But if you have a multi-line string, this is a little weird, but if you do 3 double quotes at the beginning, you can go for multiple lines. You just need to do 3 double quotes at the end. And now we are going to practice some of this.